When most people think of the Great Depression, they picture soup lines, dust storms, and families packing up to search for work across the country. But, underneath that broad narrative, there was a hidden layer of ingenuity, resourcefulness, and survival skill that often goes unrecognized. In crowded cities, when wages disappeared and stores closed, ordinary Americans, hobos, itinerants, and unemployed urban dwellers developed techniques to survive using little more than observation, creativity, and the materials society discarded. These were not acts of desperation alone. They were carefully honed hacks, passed along in whispered networks and etched into survival culture. Today we can study them not just as historical curiosities, but as practical lessons for anyone looking to navigate scarcity, urban environments, or emergency preparedness. Food sourcing required both observation and ingenuity. Hobos didn't just rely on luck. They developed knowledge about city infrastructure, learning which markets, restaurants, and grocers consistently disposed of viable food. Scraps were sometimes raw, sometimes prepared, but all were handled carefully to avoid illness. They also employed early forms of fermentation and storage techniques to preserve surplus. From a modern perspective, the key lesson is preparation and hygiene. Identifying safe sources and knowing how to handle perishable materials is critical. For instance, leftover vegetables from markets can be turned into stock or simple soups if cooked thoroughly. Baked goods can be dried or toasted to extend shelf life. The principle is constant. Treat each resource as precious and maximize its usability through basic preservation skills. Transportation was another overlooked component of survival. Many Depression-era itinerants traveled long distances on minimal resources. Hobos used freight trains, bicycles, or simply traveled by foot. Every movement was calculated to conserve energy and maximize efficiency. They learned to combine travel with resource collection, picking up discarded items en route to sustain themselves. Today, urban preppers or bushcraft enthusiasts can adopt a similar mindset, even without hopping trains. Efficient movement, walking routes timed with trash pickup or supply availability, or cycling routes that pass community gardens or reusable scrap zones, turns urban terrain into a navigable resource map. Bartering and community networks amplified survival options. No hobo survived in total isolation. Informal networks, shared knowledge and bartering allowed individuals to trade skills for resources. One person might have the ability to mend clothing, another to identify edible plants or scraps. Sharing information about safe shelters, clean water sources, or overlooked food caches was part of everyday survival. For modern learners, the lesson is timeless. Skill sharing and communication multiply efficiency. Even in urban survival contexts today, knowing who has expertise in first aid, gardening, repair, or food preservation can dramatically increase resilience without requiring large inventories of tools or supplies. Practical application of these hacks today focuses on preparation and awareness rather than improvisation alone. Urban survival in the modern age is different but conceptually similar. Paying attention to patterns, rethinking discarded materials as valuable, creating flexible shelter solutions, and maintaining hygiene in food handling are timeless. Keeping small portable supplies, cordage, tarps, basic cookware, water filtration, or durable bags enhances the ability to turn ordinary resources into functional survival tools. Observing communities, building informal networks, and sharing knowledge multiplies effectiveness in ways that no single stockpile can. Depression-era hobos were survivors not because they relied solely on luck, but because they understood their environment, mastered improvisation, and leveraged human networks to survive prolonged scarcity. Their hobo hacks teach us that survival in urban spaces is not about hoarding or high-tech gadgets. It's about observation, preparation, and creative application of available resources. For those willing to study history closely and practice these principles, urban survival becomes a learned skill, rooted in centuries of practical human experience. If you found this guide valuable and want more historically grounded urban survival insights, make sure you subscribe to Backyard Wisdom and share this video with someone who appreciates practical history brought to life. These forgotten lessons still have the power to keep people safe and self-reliant today.